I'd like to call the Garden Grove City Council meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Councilmember Beard?
Here.
Councilmember Broadwater? Councilmember Wynn?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jones? Mayor Dalton?
Here. Okay, we have a closed session item, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9A, Patelves, City of Garden Grove, two matters. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this matter? I'll open public hearing. Oral communications. Seeing none, I'll close oral communications for this item. We will deal with the agency, and then we will go to closed session. But would you call the order the sanitary district meeting?
The agency meeting?
Roll call.
Agency.
Agency. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The urgent.
Member Beard?
Here.
Member Dalton?
Here.
Member Jones? Vice Chair Wynn?
Here.
Chair Broadwater?
Okay. Here. Okay. Conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54958.8. Three properties: 13502 Barnett Way, 13501 Barnett Way, and 13502 Lanning Street. I'll open our communications. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this matter? Okay, seeing none, we will go to closed session on both of the aforementioned items. Invocation by Kingsley Okereke, Finance Director, and Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Beard.
Okay, please rise. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we ask that you be with us this evening as we consider the issues before us and seek to make the best decisions that meet the needs of our beloved community, Garden Grove. Please, Lord, purify our intentions, strengthen our purpose, and grant that in serving our community we may serve you. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I see we have some presentations.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have a very special spotlight, and I'd like Susan Emery to give the spotlight this evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight, the Garden Grove City Council takes great pleasure in recognizing three young artists from our community. These three students, who are part of the city's Tiny Tot program, produced artwork that was recognized and honored as part of the 1,000 Pieces of Art exhibit at the Imagination Celebrations Countywide Arts Festival, which was sponsored by Arts Orange County and the Orange County Department of Education. Would Danielle Alvarez, Parker Gertz, and Caden Gillespie please come forward?
And then now look at them.
Featured on display at South Coast Plaza and at the Pageant of the Masters, the three honored art projects each reflect their unique artists. Let's begin with Danielle Alvarez, a 5-year-old who will attend Barker Elementary in the fall. Danielle painted a self-portrait appropriately featuring long curly brown hair and a big smile. Danielle's love of art runs in the family. Her father, Chris, is a creative services manager at the Orange County Performing Arts Center. According to her mom, Anita, Danielle knows exactly what she wants to be when she grows up. Danielle has already planned to partner with her sisters to own a restaurant named The Three Princesses. Congratulations on your recognition, Danielle. Our second honoree is Parker Gertz, a 4-year-old who will attend Zion Elementary as a kindergartner in the fall. Parker painted a picture of the hungry little caterpillar, one of her favorite book characters. Parker loves projects of all sorts, especially drawing and painting. She enjoys swimming and soccer and loves to play with her older sister Connor, who is 6 years old. Parents Brandy and Andrew are very proud of Parker's art piece, and we congratulate you, Parker, on your special recognition. Our third honoree is Caden Gillespie. Caden is 5 years old, and he will attend kindergarten at Enders Elementary in September. Caden's art piece is a collage of his own prints crafted in the form of a Chinese dragon. Though Caden enjoys art projects very much, his true passion is building things with Legos. According to his mother, Julie, Caden spends hours constructing a variety of Lego creations. When not building, Caden enjoys playing soccer and baseball with his 17-year-old brother, Jordan. Parents Julie and Patrick are very proud of Caden, and so is the city. Congratulations, Caden, and best wishes in kindergarten. At this time, the mayor and the city council would like to present Danielle, Parker, and Caden with a certificate and a small gift in the recognition of the attention your artwork has received. The city of Garden Grove congratulates each of you and your families for this well-deserved achievement.
Now, are we missing Caden?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
The next person. Go shake her hand. We rehearsed this a little.
Just a second.
Wait, you're not done?
You're not done?
Not enough of this. Give you this. Okay, this is yours. Hang on. Can we give them the one for Caden, and can make sure that,
You know, Mr. Mayor, it's my understanding that there was a little bit of a mix-up. The time that was given to Caden was 6:45.
we'll
so
make sure that,
He may be arriving
oh, okay.
generally, yeah.
Well, I'll keep it here.
Keep it there.
I won't keep it, I'll keep it. Okay. Well, okay, you do get a couple of little goodie bags here. You get one? You got one already?
School supplies.
Yeah.
Wait, we're not done.
That's right. Leave this one here for Danica. Okay. That goes for you. Okay, now would you turn around, and we want to see some of your they want to see your big smiles so we can get some pictures with the council.
You have to look this way, too.
That way.
Look at him. Good luck.
So 1, 2, 3.
All the cameras are coming.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. If your parents would like to come up and say a few words. Any of the parents like to come up and say a few words? I should have known the first time when I asked and no one answered. Okay, that's fine. Well, thank you very much.
Did you want... You ready to go? Did you want to say something?
Thank you, ladies and young ladies. You're welcome. Okay, we have another presentation.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have representatives from OCTA to give us an update on the SR 22 405 605 West County connectors, and if they would come forward.
Good evening, Mayor Dalton and the members of the council. My name is Kenneth O. I'm from the OCTA, and I'm the project manager for the West County Connectors project. I have here Christina Burns. She's our outreach manager. I'm honored to be here in front of our board member, Dalton, here, and I thank you for the opportunity to provide an update to West County Connectors project, which, as you well know, it's in construction. And it is the largest, currently the largest construction project in Orange County. And what I'd like to do is give you a project overview and talk about the construction progress as well as the upcoming closures and the outreach program. So, okay.
Oops. Oh, do you have a?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so let me start off with the project overview. The West County Connector project is essentially a continuation of the Route 22 Garden Grove Freeway Improvement Project. The 22 improvement project was completed back in 2007, and it essentially added a carpool lane in each direction of the 22 from 55 to Valley View. The West County Connector project picks up where the 22 left off, and it begins on the 22 at Valley View and goes up to 405 and up to 605 and ends just south of Catella on 605. The project stretches about 6 miles long, overlapping 3 freeways and 6 cities, including City of Garden Grove. The project is an operational improvement project. It will reduce congestion, increase safety, mitigate merging and weaving conflicts along the 405 and the 605. The project is split into 2 segments, west segment and east segment. The east segment, shaded in blue, includes the 405-22 interchange improvement, and the project begins on the 22 at Valley View and ends on the 405 east of Seal Beach. The west segment, shaded in gray, includes the 405-605 interchange improvement, and the project begins on the 405 east of Seal Beach and ends on the 605 south of Catella. The project is split into 2 segments, essentially to better manage the projects and to get more qualified bids in construction. The project will add a direct HOV connector, which will connect the carpool lanes from the 22 to the 405 and from the 405 to the 605. And it will add an additional carpool lane in each direction of the 405 from west of Valley View to east of 605. In addition, the project will reconstruct several existing structures which will enhance the interchanges, including the southbound 405 to the eastbound 22 connector, the Valley View overcrossing over the 22, the Seal Beach Boulevard overcrossing over the 405, and the northbound 405 to the westbound 22 connector, otherwise known as the 7th Street Bridge. The Seal Beach Boulevard and Valley View reconstruction will be done in stages. As such, the start of Seal Beach Boulevard reconstruction will not begin until the Valley View and 7th Street is completed, sometime in mid-next year. This project is a $277 million project. It is both federal and state dollars. The east segment is federally funded with $68 million coming from CMAQ, a congestion mitigation and air quality program, $50 million coming from ARA, which is the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. And for the west segment, it is primarily state funded with $135 million coming from CMI 8 Proposition 1B fund, $19 million of CMAQ, and $5 million of local city contribution. I'm happy to report that this project we're anticipating to create upwards of 3,000 to 4,000 jobs in the next 3 to 4 years. The roles and responsibilities for this project is that it is a joint ventureship of OCTA and Caltrans. OCTA is the lead in project design, which is complete. We also manage the consultant construction management contracts, as well as the outreach program. Caltrans is the lead in administering the construction contract, as well as providing oversight, independent quality assurance of design. Now, to talk a little bit about the construction progress thus far, starting with the east segment, which is the 405-22 portion, one of the critical activity is to reconstruct the Valley View overcrossing, and construction has successfully completed the demolition of the east half portion of the bridge and completed the pile driving activity, and now they're installing falsework. Falsework is a framework to support the structure during construction. And we anticipate the east half portion to be complete by end of this year, and the full reconstruction to be complete by mid next year. One of the activities to shift the traffic over to start on the west half of the bridge is a 55-hour closure plan for early October, in which we will close Valley View Bridge from Tiffany to Old Bolsa Chica Road. This is necessitated to restripe, shift the traffic over to the newly constructed east half, and begin the construction on the west half. And Garden Grove Boulevard will also be closed from Valley View to northbound 405 off-ramp. For the west segment, which is the 405-605 portion, one of the critical activity is the closure of the 7th Street Connector Bridge, which has happened. We successfully completed the demolition in April of this year. Pile driving is ongoing along the northbound 405. The bridge will be reopened April of next year. This bridge has an disincentive plan, so the contractor is committed to opening this bridge on time or ahead of schedule, so we can open it up to traffic for 30,000, I guess, 30 to 40,000 motorists that use this connector on a daily basis. A couple of pictures of the before demolition, and then this is the pictures of the night of the demolition. Crew working to on the bridge deck and water truck taking controlling the debris. Here's another shot of the 7th Street connector bridge from top above the 7th Street, looking northward, northbound 405. There's pictures of the crew working on pile driving activity as part of the 7th Street bridge column and bent construction. And as I mentioned earlier, the reconstruction of the Seal Beach Boulevard will begin after the Valley View and 7th Street connector has been fully reconstructed. And we anticipate this to begin in hopefully mid next year, possibly mid to late next year. The Seal Beach Boulevard will be reconstructed in stages, and the first stage of work will be to reconstruct the west half. It will last about 10 months. We will restripe the median to allow for emergency access. The full reconstruction will last 20 to 21 months, and the final configuration of the bridge will be a 4-lane northbound, 3 lanes southbound. So it goes from the current 4-lane configuration to a 7-lane configuration ultimate. The remaining upcoming closures we do have are the 3 connectors, which are the eastbound 22 to northbound 405 for up to 10 months, the southbound 605 to the south 405, and eastbound 22 to south 405 for 2 weeks. The bottom 2 has heavy traffic. We do have incentive-disincentive plan rolled into the contract, so the contractor has a monetary compensation to open these connectors ahead of schedule. The reason for the connector closure is as we are widening the 405 to build the HOV connector in the middle, the ramps and connector has to be realigned to accommodate. This is a snapshot of the schedule currently updated for both segments, and we anticipate the next important closure is the South 605 to South 405 closure for up to 12 days, and that will occur next first quarter of next year. And the eastbound 22 to South 405, we anticipate that to happen next summer, and the eastbound 22 to North 405 as well next summer.
Mayor Dalton and council members, I'm probably a familiar face since I was around during the Garden Grove Freeway project, and I'm also assigned to the West County Connectors project as the community outreach representative. Over the past several years, we've been working closely with the community, and I'm just going to be outlining briefly some of the ways we've been working with the community to make sure they're well informed about construction. Commuters, of course, there's more than 300,000 vehicles that are using this stretch of freeway on a daily basis. We've heard that in the Guinness Book of World Records, this is actually one of the most congested and heavily used stretches of freeway in the nation. So we utilize some online mechanisms, such as our electronic alerts that go out to more than 7,000 people in our database, and then also those that are actually utilizing the road every day through our changeable message signs and other detour signage. Of course, our job is made a lot easier when we partner with the traffic reporters on the radio stations in the LA area, make sure that they have all the latest information about our work. And then we also have some interactive detour maps on our website, as well as a construction helpline, a 1-800 number that anybody can call for updates on the project at any time. Residents, we've been hosting neighborhood meetings similar to how we did during the Garden Grove Freeway project on Saturday mornings as necessary. We did quite a bit of that before we started demolition at the Valley View Street Bridge in this area. We also have a series of cable public service announcements that are running, in addition to civic presentations, Kiwanis groups, other groups such as those that we meet with on a regular basis. Something that we've tried new on this project is our automated call system to reach those that are not online, especially our senior population. What we do is we record a message prior to any major closure, and it's an automated message, and if someone's not home, it just records on their voicemail system. And then we also have some coloring books that we are disseminating at the local school districts as well to help promote our safety message during construction. The business community, we offer brown bag lunches for them to do briefings for their employees, lobby displays, as well as the coupon book program. We have more than 90 businesses in the corridor that have partnered with us to put together a coupon book, and we brought some of those with us this evening that are outside. We've done door-to-door business visits, introducing ourselves to the employers, and then also provide some posters for their break rooms and any standard language that they may want to blast out to their email through their own internal email system to their employees. To date, we've distributed more than 100 construction alerts through our electronic system, and we've fielded more than 700 calls and over 1,000 emails regarding the project. OCTA prides ourselves with being as responsive as possible to the community. Once we receive a complaint or concern, we usually resolve that complaint or concern, or at least let them know the next steps as much as possible within 24 to 48 hours. Obviously, some concerns may take a little bit longer follow-up, but we always at least make contact and let them know that we're working on their concern. And social media has also been very effective on this project, especially with the students at Cal State Long Beach, Cypress College, and other students commuting through the corridor. Oops. And lastly, if you're interested in receiving any additional information on the project, our 1-800 number, 1-800-724-0353, is a great resource, as well as our website, octa.net. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does the council have any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
The bottom line, it's all going to be done 2014?
That's
September?
correct.
What Valley View
2014.
Bridge, when's that going to be done? October?
Mid next year.
Okay.
We'll do that traffic switch in October to switch to the other half of the bridge that still needs to be under construction in this October, but the entire bridge will be complete this time next year.
Okay, good, good. I go by there every day, in fact, before I get off, so.
We
I see the
appreciate your
progress every
patience.
day. One other quick question, pile driving? Have you received any calls about early morning pile driving going on?
We received a few at the very beginning. Currently, the contractor is allowed to start as early as 6:30 a.m. Typically, they don't start until closer to 7, but it's been very few and far between as far as the
I can
complaints.
verify that time, too.
Yes.
Okay, so that's in the contract, and they can do
Yes.
that. And then, as you say, there's a financial incentive for them to finish
Yes,
early?
sir.
Okay, good. Well, I appreciate the information.
Our pleasure.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your coming here. Okay, now I understand that Caden Gillespie is here, right?
Yes.
Okay, when Caden
Like to
comes in,
welcome.
we want to make sure that we read all the identification and all of the accomplishments and all that the other two young people had.
Yes. Here they come.
Okay.
All right, Susan, if you can introduce Caden for us.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Mr. Mayor, our third honoree this evening is Caden Gillespie. Caden is 5 years old and will attend kindergarten at Enders Elementary in September.
Come on forward, Caden.
Caden's art piece is a collage of his own handprints crafted in the form of a Chinese dragon. Though Caden enjoys art projects very much, his true passion is building things with Legos. According to his mother, Julie, Caden spends hours constructing a variety of Lego creations. When not building, Caden enjoys playing soccer and baseball with his 17-year-old brother, Jordan. Parents Julie and Patrick are very proud of Caden, and so is the city. Congratulations, Caden, and best wishes in kindergarten.
Go shake hands.
Don't be shy.
Look, buddy, look.
Come on over here.
Check it out.
Caden,
Check it out. Katie. Katie.
wait a minute.
It would have been helpful if there's more.
Yeah.
It's not fair to do it while you're
Look, some more stuff. Why don't you stay up here with them when we take a picture? Get a picture for you guys.
You're welcome.
Well, why don't you come over here with him and we'll get a picture.
One, two.
Thank you. Okay, we held a closed session prior to the start of the council meeting, and there was no reportable action taken. Okay, at this time, I'll hold oral communications for the council and the agency. Marla James.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council, city staff. My name is Marla James. I am the director of the Orange County Americans for Safe Access. And I want to thank you for putting medical marijuana on your agenda and considering ordinances. It's very important for patients like me to have safe access and affordable access to our medicine and get it in a place where we feel safe. I'm too old to buy in a back alley. So medical marijuana for me has been a lifesaver. I was on high doses of OxyContin and hydrocodone, and I had no quality of life. And using medical marijuana and getting off of the prescription medications has made such a difference in my life. I can't even begin to tell you. And it's important for people like me in wheelchairs. I can't grow my own. I'm kind of stuck in the wheelchair. So it's important that I go to a collective and get my medication. And I'd like to do it in a collective that is legal in all senses, has a business license. The advantages to the city would be would be that you, as a council or as a city, number one, you get the sales tax. We all pay sales tax for our medicine, with our medicine. And you will have the advantages of sales tax, the advantages of a business license. One thing I did want to mention that I was listening to your last meeting, and there were some people that had concerns about children, and we're concerned about children too. Although we use medical marijuana, many of us are parents, and we use it like any other medicine. We keep it away from the children, keep it high, in the cabinets where they can't reach them. And I understand about your concerns about children, but I want to assure you that as per state law, no child can get into a medical marijuana facility. In order to get into a facility, you need ID, which is something a regular drug dealer will never ask for, and a recommendation from a medical doctor. So this is all, to let you know that this happens. Also, a lot of the collectives also give us social services, like many of them have food. If for those of us on a low income can't afford our own food, we can get it through the collective. They have food banks, they have clothes banks, they have free classes, yoga classes, things that help us relax, growing classes if we choose to grow our own. And let me tell you that the state law permits us to have 6 plants. And again, it's important to, that these collectives, they want to be part of the community, and we want to be part of all the community, not just the medical marijuana community. It's something that is important to us, and I want to thank you for considering the ordinances, and we'll do our best to work with you and make sure that everybody is following your laws. Okay? Thank you.
Lisa Ball.
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, my name is Lisa Ball, and I work with the South Coast Air Quality Management District. I'm here this evening to give the City of Garden Grove our copy of the 2011 State of the Air video. The video highlights accomplishments and goals for 2011. I also brought flyers for our amnesty program. AQMD is waiving late fees and not imposing penalties on permit applications filed voluntarily between now and the end of the year. And then finally, I brought our new Powering the Future brochure. This brochure is a vision for clean energy, clear skies, and a growing economy in Southern California. I left my business card with the videos. Should you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Peter Katz.
Good evening. I'm here as a member of the Vietnam War Museum Foundation Board, and just want to remind everyone that the traveling Vietnam moving wall will be here in October. For the residents of Garden Grove, October 6th through October 10th, and it will be open 24 hours a day. Some of the events, the City of Garden Grove, in conjunction with the Vietnam War Museum Foundation, include honoring Garden Grove's 40 soldiers that lost their lives during the Vietnam conflict. And there will be a fundraising dinner on Saturday night, October 6th and October 8th, as well as a student luncheon. So I know we have 2 wars going on today, and soldiers give their lives every day. And this weekend, we lost 30 more soldiers in Afghanistan as a constant reminder that freedom is not free. We pay a high price through the efforts of our soldiers, as well as the immigrants that risk their lives coming here for a better life. So please support the wall and give what you can. I know these are tough economic times, but the Vietnam War Museum of America is designed to develop and sustain a museum here in Garden Grove that will provide an understanding of the Vietnam War and recognize the millions of United States and South Vietnamese veterans and civilians who lived through that conflict, so that future generations remember the service and sacrifice that they made to obtain freedom from communism. So please support this effort. Garden Grove will be really proud when this museum is built, and I'm a strong supporter of this, and this council is 100% behind it, and so is the City of Garden Grove. Thank you.
Elaine Washington.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Elaine Washington. I've been a resident of Garden Grove for 17 years. And basically, I'm here tonight. I have my best friend's son is an Eagle Scout, Garden Grove High School. He'll be a senior this year. He has a 4.6 grade point average. He recently just did a tour at West Point and is asked to go back. But in order for him to get a scholarship, he just needs basically a letter from a city councilman or an assemblyman, so I'm just basically here to ask on his behalf. He would be here, but he has a church event this evening. And I just didn't know what the right process was for it, and I just wanted to be able to do this for him.
We'll have someone get in touch with you. Let me make sure your number's here.
Yeah, my phone number's on there, and they did do an article on him in the Garden Grove Journal just recently.
Okay, someone will get back to you on this.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Peggy Bergen.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman and staff. Basically, I'm just here with a couple of questions on the consent items because they always seem to go flying by and no one hears what they are. One of them is 6F, which is buying a fleet of cars for police. Now, I have no question about our policemen need good cars, so that isn't even the issue. It's just we are buying them once again in Los Angeles County. And one of the reasons was we weren't looking in Garden Grove because we don't have a Ford dealership. Well, when I bought my last car, I went out looking for one type, and I bought a different type. So that wasn't really a major issue. I knew the type of car size I wanted, and that's what I was looking for. But it says there's going to be no impact to the general fund. Well, the total price of these will be $125,000 and some change. $22,000 and some change, but it says no impact to general fund. But where does the Fleet Management Fund get its money from? It didn't say, even in the staff report, where that money comes from. Is it state funding or is it city funding that's taken out of our general budget for cars? So basically speaking, it is having an impact somewhere. Someone's paying $122,000 for these 5 cars. And that's really my only question on that. But I did bring down another little notice on the project for the Galleria, but that's just more or less defining the map and breaking that up from the one with the Boys and Girls Club. It will be the final definition of who owns what property. So basically, the staff report itself explained that enough for me to understand. But I do understand that the the musical programs in the park have been going very well this summer. I've been gone, so I haven't been able to attend any, but the weather has been very nice for them, most of the people say, so they've gone out and participated in those nicely. And I believe the 4th of July fireworks, I noticed at our last meeting, no one brought it up, which was, I believe it was the 19th or something of July, but that the fireworks issue this year was managed well, and we didn't seem to have as many. I do know in my neighborhood, it did not appear to be a war zone by 1 o'clock in the morning, so I felt that was quite comforting issue for all of us residents in the city. So basically, the programs we're doing are going well, but I just had that one question is where's the money coming from? And as we are asked as citizens to buy in Garden Grove, I do believe that there would be some car dealership in Garden Grove that you could buy a fleet of cars from. 5 cars would help one of our dealers a long way to help their budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Charles Mitchell.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and staff. In 1999, I was honored to be selected for the Orange County Grand Jury to serve for 1 year. The Grand Jury has several responsibilities that include criminal hearings, but most of the time it's involved in being the watchdogs for the county. Reports are published throughout the year and consolidated as a final report. These reports are not mandates, but rather recommendations. Their purpose is to provide information to the public of what's going on in the county and to suggest possible improvements. Although these reports are submitted as the work of the entire grand jury and are not credited to individual authors, some people that are on the grand jury take the lead on working on these reports. I was privileged to work with a man named James Nolan. He was the driving force behind the report about emancipated youth. It focused on the housing, and lack of basic training for foster children when they turn 18 and are no longer the responsibility of the courts and no longer have a place to live in many cases, because the foster parents, a lot of them, are only taking the children in for the money and are taking no real responsibility in making sure they're prepared to go out in the world for themselves. That includes not knowing how to look for a job, not even knowing how to balance a checkbook. These kids, when they turn 18, are left on their own, and there needs to be a way of giving them the basic skills. Fortunately, because of the report, certain programs have been initiated in the county to help foster children when they are emancipated. Sadly, Jim Nolan, who was the driving force behind this report, passed away last week. I recall sitting next to Jim while he was working on the report, and he asked me to proofread 14 drafts of that report, which I was glad to do. But Jim is going to be missed by a lot of people, not only those of us who served with him on the grand jury, but a lot of people in Orange County. And, Mr. Mayor, I ask if you would please close this meeting in memory of James Nolan. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicholas Dibbs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I'm from West Garden Grove. Been a resident of West Garden Grove for over 30 years, and I was here specifically to hear the presentation from the OCTA regarding the West County Connectors project in hopes of asking for some sound mitigation from the elevated HOV connectors, which are going to impact the residents on the west side. But I was informed after they spoke that we cannot put rubberized asphalt on elevated HOV lanes. So that was why I came, was to ask for the rubberized asphalt. I did submit a comment a little over 10 years ago as part of the environmental EIR impact report. And over 10 years ago, I asked that since we put a lot of effort into getting the 7 sound walls along the Garden Grove Freeway, I was the one that took Ken Maddox out there before he was in the assembly and showed him right there where the 22 and a 405 come together. I was the first one to show him that, and he agreed, and him and others and Tony Flores and so on, we got the sound walls in. Well, the sound walls only go up 16 feet. The elevated HOV lane is going to be over 30 feet. But what I have secured from OCTA, from Christine Byrne and the project manager who just were here, is a commitment to measure the sound after the project is over, and based on that, to see whether they're going to do anything after the project is built as far as reducing the sound. The only other thing I can add is some of us on the west side that live near where the pile driving is going on have experienced cracks in our stucco, and so there is a process for submitting claim forms, which I will endeavor to do, but they have to be submitted within 6 months of discovering the cracks. So I have to, the word needs to get out about that, so if anyone's experiencing damage to their homes from the pile driving. So I do want to thank the Christine Byrne and the project manager for all they've done to keep us educated and informed. It's been a long process. That was my original intent to be here. I have some time left, so since I cannot request you to ask for rubberized asphalt, I'll have to move on to another subject. What happens in Washington, D.C., and at the state level obviously affects us here in our economy and what happens in Garden Grove. And so I do want to ask, and I'll come back at another council meeting to follow up, but I've asked the City Council in Long Beach as well as in Signal Hill to please consider a resolution to our members of Congress, the Senate and the House, on calling on the Congress to withdraw their troops from Iraq and Afghanistan, modeled after the resolution that was passed by the 15-member Los Angeles City Council in 2007. So I want you to be thinking about this because the economy is being affected, the billions and trillions that are being siphoned for the war is affecting the economy. I do support the troops and the veterans, and we need to get them home. There's a lot of veterans that are suffering from these long wars. End the wars, bring the troops home, use that money here to get our economy going, and the local city councils have a voice and a right to ask the members of Congress to bring our troops home. So I do want to be on record on that, of asking this council to please consider a resolution similar to the one that the city of Los Angeles passed in 2007, asking that the troops come home from Afghanistan, Iraq, and that we also include them coming home from Afghanistan. That's all I have to say at the moment, unless anyone has any questions. Okay, thank you all.
Paul Lucas.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, council members, and staff. It's been a long time. It's good to see everybody. So I've spoken to some people, and a lot of them remarked that, I've lost a tremendous amount of weight, but I'm actually putting weight back on. After the election in 2008, I've felt tremendously ill and had to be in the hospital a few times. And the reason I'm speaking about this today is I'm speaking about your willingness to start making regulations and a permit process for the regulation of medical marijuana dispensaries, and I congratulate you for that. I think that's moving in a positive direction. I was speaking with a member of the council the other day in that a little over a year ago, I had formed a nonprofit corporation for the purpose of operating as a cooperative, and even though I'm very enthused about your current actions, that action, what it is going to do is, we have been operating as a nonprofit cooperative, as a sort of a buying club, to purchase our medication to help us with our illnesses. And the current draft of your process is going to, we had been operating within the confines of the law. And since we didn't have a storefront, we will then be operating outside of the law within the city limits. And so I'm here to appeal for a little bit of regulatory relief from the city and help with this process. And all my records and corporate paperwork are available for your review. We are a true nonprofit. Our profits, we have a designated charity, the Dale McIntosh Center, to donate some of our profits after operating costs to help people that are living with tremendous disabilities and have a lot of trouble getting through life because of their disabilities. And I would like to be able to continue in that effort and just ask you for some help in getting through this process. So the way it is right now, persons who had been operating within the law, such as myself, are going to be punished to the deference of those who have been operating outside of the city ordinance and opening up a storefront. I chose to obey the wishes of the city and not open a storefront, and the way it is now, we're going to be getting punished for that. So, and I think it's a little unfair, but I don't think it's totally impossible to overcome that, and I'd like to seek some regulatory relief from yourselves. Thank you.
Okay, Keith?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council, and citizens of Garden Grove, those in attendance and those watching. I come today to add my specific comments about medical marijuana and the city of Garden Grove. As a director of a collective in Garden Grove, I think that it's a very particular subject. As others have done tonight, I'd like to thank you guys for choosing to work with the collectives instead of choosing to litigate the collectives. my last city council meeting that I attended, I stood here and I listened to someone refer to this city council as one of the most progressive city councils that she had ever saw. And when you guys had chose to do that, I said to myself, well, she was right. I wanted to introduce myself again to show you that people that are in my industry are good people. The definition of medicine is the science of healing. Marijuana truly heals. So I wanted to show my face once again and speak on behalf of not only myself, but of the thousands of patients that are out there that want you to do something about medical marijuana. They'd greatly appreciate it, and I'm sure that you guys can set the bar for other cities out there that do not know what to do. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to close all communications at this time, and we'll recess the council and go to the agency.
Oh, no comments? Okay. Okay, at this time, we'll open up the community agency for community development. Ms. Baylor, will you please call roll?
Member Beard?
Here.
Member Dalton?
Here.
Member Jones?
Here.
Vice Chair Wynn?
Here.
Chair Broadwater?
Here. We had a closed session on 3 real estate items. We have nothing to report on that. Oral communications has been held. Consent items, we have none. Public hearings, we have none. Items for consideration, none. Matters from agents, members, and director. Anybody care to make any comments? No. And we have none. At this time, we will adjourn for 2 weeks from tonight.
Okay, we'll reconvene the council meeting and go to 6 consent items.
Mr. Mayor, it's recommended that items 6A through 6K be acted on simultaneously unless a separate discussion is requested by a member.
I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Oh, you didn't get that.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, we'll go to public hearings.
Mr. Mayor, 7A is an appeal of a denial of a site plan, and I believe the applicant would like to address the council before this matter is considered. If you would like.
Is that Charles Min Lee?
I believe so, if he's in the audience.
Mr. Mayor, excuse me, just ask the city attorney, would it be appropriate for me to leave the dais?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. I'll have to excuse myself. This was matters heard before the Planning Commission.
Hello, Mayor and all the council and staff. Today I come to ask you for the postpone. I'm not ready yet. I want to delay it.
Okay, so you want to pull this item then? You don't want it to go any further at this time, is that correct?
Postpone it.
I want to postpone. I want to delay the
Postpone it.
case.
You want to continue it?
Yeah.
We'll have a date for us later.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and then we'll go on with the council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you want a motion to that effect, or is it?
Well, he's withdrawing it, so.
Well, but do we need a motion to continue off calendar? I think he wants to continue it off calendar. Do you want to continue it to a certain time, or do you want to pick a date later?
I want to pick the date later.
Okay. I'll move that we continue it off calendar.
In order to do that, just to clarify for the record that you are voluntarily asking for this, because normally we have time limits by which matters need to be considered, but you're asking us to extend that indefinitely now and put off the consideration of this until a date later when you request that it come back. Is that correct? Yes. Okay.
I second the motion.
Could I make a comment? I mean, does that go on forever, or do we put a date on it, a time it runs out?
I would certainly prefer a date. That would be my preference. I think that would be in everybody's interest.
How soon will you want to continue this?
About 2 months.
About 2 months?
Yes. Okay, so it's the...
I'd like to say we go for November 30th. That gives him his 2 months and a little extra time, too.
The second meeting in November?
Are there fees involved, application fees for anything that,
Well,
once you pass a certain time, that expires and you have to pay new fees, or?
There's an appeal fee, which is, I believe, presumably already been paid, but beyond that, the matter will be renoticed, and there will be a cost for the city to renotice this as a public hearing.
Well, I want to make sure he gets the full 2 months, so why don't we go to December the 9th?
That's almost 4 months.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, this is August.
Okay, back in
October
November.
would be, October would
is
be
well
2
into
months.
2 months. Unless, when would you like to come back? What month?
About 2 months.
October?
Yes.
October 11th is a little more than 2 months. 2 months and a couple days, so that seems reasonable.
Okay.
Okay. We have a motion and a second.
I'll second Bruce.
Call for the vote.
Thank you.
Motion received, 4 yes votes.
7B.
Mr. Mayor, 7B is a series of actions involving the assessment for the Garden Grove Park Maintenance District, the Garden Grove Street Lighting District, and the new one involving the Darnell Beck area and Lorna Street. So it's recommended that 3 separate public hearings, that you conduct 3 separate public hearings. So if you open the first public hearing to consider assessment for the Garden Grove Street Lighting District 99-1.
Matt, we can hear one joint staff report, but then 3 separate public hearings.
Tony's here to give a brief staff report on these 3 items.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Fertal. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, tonight the City Council is asked to consider holding public hearings and then adopt the confirming resolutions for collection of assessments on the city's street lighting and park maintenance districts. The public hearings are required by law, and the purpose is to hear testimony on the question of the annual assessments. In addition, the city has been requested to install additional local lighting in 2 areas. An assessment ballot process was conducted for the Darnell Beck area and a portion of Lorna Street as a requirement to impose the additional local lighting assessment. Assessment ballots were mailed out to all the affected property owners in these 2 areas in accordance with the law. If more than 50% of the returned ballots are against the additional assessment, then the additional local lighting assessment cannot be levied and the additional lighting will not be installed. In the absence of a majority protest, the City Council may authorize the levying of the local lighting assessment and authorize the installation of the streetlights. After the tabulation of the ballots, the appropriate resolutions may be adopted, and the required information will be forwarded to the county assessors for collection of the assessments. The assessments will raise approximately $1.3 million in street lighting revenue and $600,000 in park maintenance revenue. There are no increases in the assessment rates, and there are no new zones in the districts for this year. Staff recommends that the City Council conduct 3 separate public hearings for the districts. First, for Street Lighting District 99-1, then for the Park Maintenance District, and lastly, for the Garden Grove Street Lighting District. Following the public hearings, the City Clerk will tabulate and report the results. At that time, the City Council will be asked to separately take action on the appropriate assessment resolution for each district. And that concludes staff's report. Staff's available to answer any questions the City Council may have.
Okay, any questions for staff? Okay, hearing none, I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this matter?
This would be 7B.
7B. Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
At this time, right.
There is not a majority protest for the Garden Grove Street Lighting District number 99.-1 assessment.
Okay.
So you're free to act on the resolution.
Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we pass it.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, next item.
That'd be, you'll open a public hearing for item 7C, the Park Maintenance District.
7C.
7C, correct.
Okay, is there any staff report or just go to?
No, it's all one staff report.
Okay, one. Okay, fine. I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on this matter? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
Now the clerk will report out.
There has not been a majority protest received for the Garden Grove Park Maintenance District assessment.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Move the issue.
Second.
Have motion second, call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
I open the public hearing for 7D.
Okay. 7D, we've already had a staff report. I'll open a public hearing for 7D. Anyone here would like to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
Move the issue.
No, actually, we have to do a ballot tabulation. So what we're going to do is have the clerk, no?
Deputized.
Sorry. Our deputized clerk, John Clark, will tabulate the ballots. So in the meantime, we can recess this item and go to item 9.
Okay, we'll do so then. We'll recess this and go to item 9. Items for consideration.
Mr. Mayor, item 9 is an award of contract to Harrison Associates for design work to facilitate 9 Ontario highway rehabilitation projects. And Bill Murray is here to give a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fertel. Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, on June 28th, the Council approved the capital improvement budget for this fiscal year. Staff has identified 9 arterial street sections using the city's pavement management program that need maintenance. Those street sections are as follows. On Chapman Avenue, we have 2 segments. The first is from Nelson to Euclid, and the second is from 9th to West. On Brooker Street, we identified 3 segments. The first is from Hazard to Westminster, the second is from Trask to Garden Grove, and the third is from Chapman to Orangewood. On Euclid Street, we only have 1 segment, and it's from Hazard to Westminster. And finally, on Westminster Avenue, we have 2 segments, from Bouchard to Brookhurst, and from Brookhurst to Bowen. To complete the design of the projects within the next fiscal year, staff proposes to use a professional design consultant. Requests for 4 proposals were sent to 5 consultant firms, and 3 responded. Staffs evaluated the proposals and determined that Harrison Associates was the most qualified firm. The proposal fee is just over $366,000 and will be funded with gas tax. Should the council approve the award of a professional services contract tonight, the work can begin before the end of the month and should be complete by the end of the calendar year. This will allow for the rehabilitation projects to begin next spring. This concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move the recommendation.
Second.
I have motion second, call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, ordinances.
Mr. Mayor, 10A is an ordinance for second reading. That's ordinance number 2795, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove amending Chapter 28 of Title 8 of the Garden Grove Municipal Code relating to abatement of abandoned or inoperative vehicles.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move the issue.
Second.
I have motion second, call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, next item.
10B is the ordinances establishing the registration process for existing medical marijuana dispensaries. First item is 10B1, urgency ordinance number 2797, an urgency ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove establishing an eligibility cutoff date and registration process for potential eligibility of medical marijuana dispensaries for future permits pending the adoption by the city of regulations governing the location and operation of medical marijuana dispensaries.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
I'd like to have a comment on it, can I?
Okay.
You know, we heard a lady tonight talk about it at the microphone, and she said, talked about how the doctors are involved and everything else. I think that's the biggest joke of the century. I mean, these doctors, anybody who wants to can get a medical marijuana prescription. It's easy to do. And the shame of it all is it's a mess and everything else. I personally would like to vote against the whole process, but I know that going all the lawsuits that we go through would be very costly for the city. But I don't think we're progressive. I just think we're doing what we can do to resolve a horrible problem, partially resolve a horrible problem.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, next item.
Item 10B2 is ordinance number 2798A for introduction and first reading by title, and that's an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove establishing an eligibility cutoff date and a registration process for potential eligibility of medical marijuana dispensaries for future permits pending adoption by the city of regulations governing the location and operation of medical marijuana dispensaries.
Yeah, I'll move it. Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, we're still waiting on 7D.
Correct. So you can go to matters if you wish.
Okay. Matters, go ahead, Mr. Broadwater.
One gentleman talked about the noise that was being made on the freeway, and it's saying that they couldn't do the rubberized asphalt on the top. I'd like to know why. I really like to know. I don't believe that. I believe they can do it. I mean, if you take a look at the 55 freeway, these guys tell us that it doesn't decrease the sound. But it's strange that it goes by one of the richest cities in this county, and they got it from one end to the other on that freeway. So I'd like to look into it. I really think that they can rubberize the whole thing. And I think West End deserves that.
You know, I just might add to that, I think I heard somewhere recently that the cost for the 22 freeway is something like $3 to $10 million, somewhere in that. But I mean, at least we should know, and if it is feasible, look into it. But I know I heard those figures somewhere recently.
Oh, and one other thing I forgot. I got to add this. It says, "Happy birthday, Council Member Broadwater's wife, Peggy." I don't want to miss saying happy birthday, honey. Love you.
You almost were in trouble. Ms. Nguyen.
I have none for the
Nothing.
committee matters.
Mr. Jones.
I have nothing tonight, thanks.
Mr. Beard.
Yeah, concerts in the park, they're still going on. Some are still with us, so I encourage everybody to go out there. They're very enjoyable. I'm looking forward to this Thursday, Abbey Road or something, and Beatle tribute band. So I'm going to be there, and I encourage all the citizens out there. I know the ones that do go certainly enjoy it. And I attended one of the National Night Out locations. That was worthwhile. I commend the police department for putting that together. It was worthwhile. So I thank them for doing that, and I was glad to attend, and I hope it keeps growing every year. And with that, I'll wish happy birthday to Councilmember Broadwater's wife, Peggy.
Yeah, happy birthday to Peggy, and the rest of us didn't forget. You almost did, though.
No, yeah.
We'll probably kill the time for a couple more minutes until we have the results of the count.
Let's be that new clerk.
For that.
Do what?
7D.
Can we take a little break, like a 2-minute break?
No, because they'll be back in a minute. In the meantime. Charles, what was that gentleman's name again you wanted me to adjourn the meeting in honor of?
James
Nolan.
Nolan.
Oh, cool. Let's do it, yeah.
He used to
Okay.
be a Senator Nolan in California. He owned a newspaper in Oakland. He's one of his in relation.
Okay, when we do adjourn the meeting, it will be in memory of James Nolan.
Thank you.
No, I was just trying to think some way to, maybe you want to dance a little or sing a little tune?
I would like to comment on the kids that came forward. I think their art was in City Hall, correct, on the walls? That wasn't theirs? There's some great art up there by kids. I commend those kids, and they happen to be going to the same elementary schools that my children went to. Not that that has any correlation, but...
None of it rubbed off, huh?
I think those kids are missing one thing, and I think they need an agent. They were so cute and so adorable. They must be very talented. And I'm glad we recognized
It's funny, the little boy was the most bashful one of the three of them, you know.
He's brave. He's the same age as my older one, and I can't imagine my guy getting up there that long.
We have the air quality video.
No.
I wish we had that video that I was talking about before showing, the redevelopment and some of the terrible spots in the city, which are now, places we're extremely proud of. That's right. I bet you will from now on.
Well, can they play the Vietnamese war museum video that we got?
Ooh, that was good.
Yes, are you hearing all of this?
Not you guys, other guests.
Can we play it after each meeting until the...
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, can you please check on John? He might have dozed off or something.
He's out eating shepherd pie. Her birthday.
I didn't think it was that many. Does he have his shoes and socks off? Counting on hands and toes? Fingers and toes?
The Moving Wall. This monument to valor and sacrifice is coming to Garden Grove in October. The half-scale replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. will be at Garden Grove Park from October 6th through the 10th. The Vietnam War Museum of America Foundation is bringing this event to the community. A full range of events and exhibits will be presented to visitors at the park located at 9301 Westminster Avenue. Opening ceremonies will be held at 5:30 p.m., featuring the Garden Grove Police Department Honor Guard, a 21-gun salute, along with musical tributes and speakers that inspire the mind and the heart. An educational center will be open during the weekend to help visitors understand one of America's longest and costliest conflicts. The Moving Wall event will be capped by a luncheon sponsored by the Garden Grove Community Foundation for students representing all 8 of the Garden Grove Unified High Schools. One very special feature of the Moving Wall visit is a tribute to Garden Grove's sons lost during the Vietnam War. Called the Garden Grove 40, the names of each serviceman will be read during the opening ceremonies at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, October 6th. One of them is John Michael Foster, called Mike by all who knew him. Mike grew up on Halekulani Street in Garden Grove with his parents, John and Betty, 4 brothers, and 1 sister. His story is uniquely his own, yet he shares a common bond and a common fate with the other 58,253 names on the wall. It was 1963, and Mike Foster hadn't finished high school when he enlisted in the Marines at age 17.
He's my personal hero in my life.
His younger brother Matt got to know his brother Mike through letters the young Marine sent home from the war.
Every parent wants their kid to graduate high school, but Mike just wanted to kind of get out on his own. On one hand, he missed home. On the other hand, he's kind of trying to prove to all the younger kids in the family and my dad, I guess, that he could do it. He could, accomplish something.
And he did accomplish something. Mike was promoted during his first tour of duty in the 3rd Tank Battalion, 3rd Marine Division. The young corporal was barely 21 when his 3-year enlistment period ended, but the squared-away Marine came home to a country that had changed dramatically.
So Mike came home and he saw the kids, their hair was getting long and they were, acting up, and he was a, hardcore Marine, so he didn't fit in.
Demonstrations against the war soon became common on college campuses and on television newscasts. Mike missed his friends in the Corps and worried about them in the now escalating conflict. He re-enlisted and saw action during the Tet Offensive. On March 24, 1969, Corporal John Michael Foster and members of his unit were ambushed while attempting to repair a disabled tank retriever. Mike was killed along with several fellow Marines.
He died fighting for and fighting with who he wanted to be with. It was his choice. You can't take that away from a soldier. A soldier knows that he's in imminent danger. And he knows he's fighting for his buddies, he's fighting for the Corps, he's fighting for his beliefs, he's fighting for himself.
John Michael Foster's name is on the wall, along with all the others who died fighting the Vietnam War. Mike grew up in Garden Grove, went to church and school here, played in our neighborhoods. You have a chance to honor this Garden Grove son, the 39 others, and all who sacrificed everything they had and everything they were ever going to have so that America would remain safe. You can help support the effort to remember the heroes of the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War Museum of America Foundation invites you to log on to their website. There are volunteer and sponsorship opportunities for both the Moving Wall Visit and the Museum Foundation. This is Lou Stowers reporting.
This is all brand new then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we in recess right now?
They're counting, so I don't know.
How's Leo doing?
He's doing fine.
Just kind of lagging around, but
We've never done this before, oral communications.
Here we go. We got a report.
The ballots for the Darnell Beck area local lighting proposal is 62% in favor of the local lighting assessment and 38% against. Therefore, there is not a majority protest. The ballots for the Lorna Street local lighting proposal is 81% in favor of local lighting assessment and 19% against. Therefore, there is not a majority protest.
As a result, because there's not a majority protest, should the council decide to go ahead with both the general assessment and both local lighting assessments, the appropriate attachment resolution would be attachment number 3 to the agenda report.
We do all this in one vote?
Yes, it's one resolution.
Move the issue.
Second. A motion, second, call for the vote. Okay, I already said who we're adjourning in honor of,
Motion
and
received,
we're going
4
to...
yes votes, with Councilmember Broadwater voting no.
No, Broadwater voted yes. That's a mistake.
Oh, motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, so then we're adjourned till the next meeting, as or aforementioned meeting.
I move the issue.
That's all right.
Hot summer nights call for cool summer fun, and that's what the Garden Grove Summer Concert Series is all about. Eastgate Park comes alive with music Thursday nights with something for everyone. The Beatles tribute band Abbey Road plays all your favorites August 11th. This Fab Four will have you twisting and shouting beginning at 6:30. Groovy. The Summer Concert Series is brought to you by the Garden Grove Community Foundation, going strong since 1998.
Coming up, one of the bidders for the bankrupt Crystal Cathedral says he's ready to write a check and take over the iconic Garden Grove ministry. Plus, the community takes a national night out against crime with the members of the Garden Grove Police Department. And the beating death of the homeless man at the hands of Fullerton police sparked protests and a possible city council recall. Those stories plus the latest in your local sports, it's all starting right here, right now on This Week in Garden Grove.